You're listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. Each week, your host, Polly Requa, interviews veterinarians and individuals in the pet industry from across the nation answering pet questions. Bark and Wag podcast is produced weekly for your enjoyment, and show notes can be found at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. That's BARKNWAG.com. Please remember to subscribe to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. Bark and Wag is dedicated to protecting our dogs through advocacy, education, and supporting like-minded dog lovers by selling custom pet products. Bark and Wag is excited to announce our new partnership with a Colorado hemp farm to produce a line of CBD products for your pets. Bark and Wag has CBD pet tincture available in 300, 750, 1200, and 2400 milligrams. Bark and Wag CBD is pet safe, no THC, it's made in the USA, and is CO2 extracted. Please check out Bark and Wag's website, barkandwag.com. That is BARK, to see our line of CBD and awesome merchandise. We love pooch ideas for podcasts and merchandise, so anytime send an email to Polly at barkandwag.com with your suggestions.
Welcome to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. I'm your host, Polly Requa. Today we're talking to Cindy Myers, energy healer and intuitive. How are you, Cindy?
I'm doing great, Polly. How are you doing?
Good. I love having you on the show, and I just wanted to let our listeners know what webinars you have going on in June.
I'll be happy to share that with you. My next Animal and Emotion webinar is on June 16th, and we've been talking a lot about the stress of getting back into the real world again. And now that we're leaving our homes more and our pets are going, where are you going? So now our pets are feeling more anxiety these days as we leave more. So we'll be talking a lot about how we can help you and your pets when they are missing us. And then I have a human version, June 2nd. It's called an Intuitive Listening webinar. And we talk about how fear impacts our lives and creates habits and what we can do about it. And I do demos for both webinars. So if people send me their pictures of their pets, they have an opportunity for me to check in with their pet and let me do some clearings on them and communicate with them as well.
And so you have two webinars in June?
Yes, one for humans and one geared towards animals.
And how do the listeners get a hold of you?
Well, the best way is they're on my website at yourenergyhealer.com. They're free. So all you have to do is register by giving me your first name and your email address, and you get the Zoom link. Everything is off of Zoom these days, right? So it'll be on Zoom.
And okay, so once again, we've got June 2nd and June 16th.
Right, and that's at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And if people can't make it, I do record them and I will send them out to the folks that register. So if they can't make it, they still can get, if they're interested in the topic, they can get a replay.
Okay, well, I'll put all the information in the show notes. And are you getting a lot of intuitive vibes that dogs are stressed out, that the owners are going back to work?
Yes. I'm getting a whole rash of both. It's actually for both, because I think people are a little more anxious about it too, which then spills onto their pets. But their pets are really experiencing, it's a change in their routine, and they love having us around all the time. So with us gone more, they're having a little separation anxiety these days. So I'm getting a lot of that.
Right. Well, and I'm sure, definitely, I feel the workforce as a whole is much more flexible.
Right. So if people can have a nice blend, it's easier on everybody. I think we're changing our dynamics a little bit in that regard of work and home and staying home and able to do both. And so that's a nice win-win for many people. But those who have to go back to work or want to go back to work, their pets are missing them. So
Yes. So I know the listeners love your stories. Do you have any unique stories for us today before we say goodbye?
Oh, I always have plenty of stories, but one interest, at least it was interesting to me, was when a pet had to cross over, and I guided the owners in helping their making the decision. That's such a hard decision. And so one thing I like to do is always to make sure that the pet made it to the other side safely. And so I tapped into this dog. It was a dog, and it showed me that it was on the other side and was out of the pain of its body. And then I saw some, and I'm not a very good medium, I'll be very honest about that. I don't see humans too easily on the other side, but I did this time. I saw a gentleman, an older gentleman, and I got that it was a grandfather energy. So I asked if they may have had a grandfather on the other side, and they said yes. And I said, so I kind of just kept staying with the energy of this grandfather and dog because they were together, and then I heard the name Pop. So I asked them if that was what they called the grandfather, and they said yes. So that was the sign. That was the sign that the dog had made it over safely and was with this grandfather.
Oh, that's really neat. Yeah, definitely. My dad visits me via animals, time, and music. So animals are a big, like just randomly, especially birds. So it is, if you look for the signs, they're all over.
They're all over, yes.
Yeah. So, well, great story. And well, I'll put all the information in the show note. We look forward to having you back in July.
I look forward to coming back.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, www.barkandwag.com, to your friends and other pet owners. Have a pressing question for a veterinarian? Ask your question at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. This has been a KFR production. Join us next time for another edition of Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk.